Unit 3 Assessment. The Body Tells a Story. The Case of Otzi the Iceman. In 1991, two hikers were out on a hike in the Alps mountain range in Europe. One of them spotted something sticking out of the ice. They went to have a look. It turned out to be a body. The hikers thought it might be the body of a hiker who had died recently. They notified the police. The body was unearthed and examined. It turned out to be the body of a man who died about 5,300 years ago. His body had not decayed much. It had been covered by snow and ice. The snow and ice had preserved the body. At that point, the police began to lose interest. Whoever the man was, he was not a victim of a crime in the recent past. On the other hand, scientists and historians started to get more interested. This man, who was nicknamed Otzi, had lived a long time ago in prehistoric times. He lived back when writing had not yet been invented. Many people were hoping Otzi's body might help us learn more about how human beings lived in prehistoric times. Scientists began to study the Iceman's body. They looked at his skeleton. They measured his bones. The bones helped them pinpoint some key facts. They made it clear that Otzi was a man. He was about 45 when he died. He stood about 5 feet 4 inches tall. He weighed about 110 pounds. He would be a bit on the small side today. He may have been normal sized 5,000 years ago. One scientist looked at Otzi's leg bones. He found that Otzi had strong bones. The Iceman's tibia was thick and strong. It had been strengthened by traveling long distances on the sloping ground. Otzi had apparently walked many miles on the slopes of the Alps. He may have been a shepherd who tended a herd of animals. The scientists also found a small fracture in Otzi's hip bone. This is an injury that was caused by years of wear and tear. Another scientist looked at Otzi's teeth. He found tiny specks of pollen and dust in Otzi's tooth enamel. These tiny grains came from specific kinds of plants. They suggested that Otzi spent his childhood in a specific area in northern Italy where such plants grew. Later, he moved further north into the area where his body was found. Scientists used x-rays to examine Otzi's body. One x-ray showed that he had an arrowhead lodged in his left shoulder. Apparently, someone shot him with an arrow. It may have been the arrow that killed him, but scientists are not sure. Other scientists look at Otzi's digestive system. In Otzi's intestines, they discovered the remains of 2 meals. These were the meals he had eaten in the hours before his death. The main course for one meal consisted of meat from a chamay, a kind of antelope. During this meal, Otzi also ate some roots and fruits. The other meal included meat from a red deer along with more roots and fruits. Scientists found tiny grains of pollen from pine trees in Otzi's food. These suggested that Otzi ate one of his last meals in a pine forest and that he died during the springtime when pollen is produced by plants. The scientists also found wheat and barley in Otzi's stomach. They think these grains may have been grown by Otzi and his kinmen. Rather than picked in the wild, the grains may have been baked to make bread. Some of the scientists studied Otzi's lungs. They found that his lungs were blackened, probably from smoke of campfires. You may not think fingernails are very interesting, but it turns out they are. Fingernails provide a record of bodily health, sort of like the rings of a tree. Otzi's fingernails had 3 odd lines. Scientists think each line was left by an illness. Otzi was probably sick 3 times in the 6 months before he died. His last sickness seemed to have lasted about 2 weeks. You can see that people were right to be excited about the discovery of Otzi's body. By studying his body, we have learned a lot about how human beings may have lived in prehistoric times.